We have gotten so many inquiries about these bling ducks, and you know I was not going to leave you hanging, so I'm here to show you exactly how to do it. Now, this is a big bling duck. If you can see, it covers my entire hand. I got that one from Five Below. And so the little one I got from Dollar Tree. They had many options, and of course, you already know we're using Crowned Crystals glass rhinestones. For the small one, I decided to go with size SS20 for the body, and then a few filler stones of size SS12. If you want to be even more of a perfectionist, of course, we can go on down to size SS6, but I can also show you that we can only use one size rhinestone as well. It just won't be the best quality, but you actually can make it work. So we're going to start off by outlining the neck of this duck. I did not sand this. I did not prep in any way but wipe down with alcohol. I am using Krystal Glaze glue, and I pulled on these stones after I got done, and they were not budging. So do what works best for you. As I always say, do what floats your boat. So this is my boat, and my boat is floating just fine, and I did not sand this duck, and it came out just fine. Now, if you're using another glue, I'm not sure. So, of course, when you're in doubt, just always sand it, but I didn't. I outlined the neck first, and then I'm going to outline where we see those wings. Here is where the SS20 no longer fit, and so I'm going to be filling in with size SS12. Now, if you do not want to use SS12, don't tell anybody I said this, but you can very well just glue a rhinestone on top of that space. Now, this is just a little gift for free, which I think most people who are blinging these ducks are cheer moms. These are gifts. So we don't have to be that perfect if you don't want to be. I'm not that kind of bling artist. If you are selling this, it might be a difference, but still, you know, test some things out and see if that's what you want to do. But you could very well glue a rhinestone on top of a space and not do a filler stone. Or, as I've shown in another video, we could very well crack a rhinestone with a nail cuticle cutter. I can't remember what it's called, but we can very well crack a rhinestone and fill in that space and make a rhinestone, but you have many options. So we're going to go in this pattern that I'm showing you here, and we're just filling in rhinestones. As I previously taught, when we cannot fill in the rhinestones when using, or spaces when using the honeycomb method, which is what I've done on this duck, then we just skip that space and move on to the next one where the rhinestone fit. And then I generally go back and fill in those gaps. Also, because Krystal Glaze dries rather quickly, however, it's not completely cured, we do have some work time. So as you're blinging or strassing, which is the proper term, you can shift stones in some spaces when you just are like, I don't want to fill in this. You can very well shift them around and fill in those spaces so that they are even spaces. And you'll see what I mean as we continue. We're just going to continue to do what we've been doing. If you are not a fast strasser, then I suggest that you do not add that much glue at a time, but I move rather quickly. I've been doing this for a long time. And so I add quite a bit of glue, and I'm just going at the bottom, continuing with the honeycomb method. And then I'm going to move to the top, continue with the honeycomb method. And then when we come to the middle of his chest, then you will see that we can no longer continue with that method. And then that's where we begin to use SS12 rhinestones and also shift some stones to make even spaces. Remember, there will always be gaps, but we can minimize them. And the cool thing about this duck is it already has some glitter. So where there are gaps, it's going to be still some sparkle peeping through those spaces. Here's where I was talking about that it gets a little tricky. We're no longer continuing with the honeycomb method because those SS20 rhinestones just won't fit. So we're going to fill in the SS12 rhinestones. We're either going to glue rhinestones on top of those spaces, or we're going to shift some of those rhinestones to make even spaces. Just like most of us, when in school, we outlined our coloring sheets. We're doing the same thing here. Just around the bottom of the duck, we're going to go all around the bottom and outline with size SS20 rhinestones. And then, of course, we'll continue with the honeycomb pattern all the way through the back, just like we did the front. And of course, here are the wings. We're going to outline those wings as well. And then we're going to begin to fill in the back part just like we did the front part. He's already looking so gorgeous. Now we're going to continue with the blinging out the rest of his body. We have his head left. Now, if you wanted to stop right here, you really could, but we don't do that around here. Extra is better. For the eyes, you're only really going to need 2 little rhinestones, and I'm using our bright white rhinestones. However, as I always teach, keep some transparent rhinestones on hand. If you already had transparent rhinestones, you could very well just use that for the eyes instead of buying a whole entire pack of bright white rhinestones, unless you're smart and you keep them in your collection. When we run sales, it's best to stock up on all the colors that you think that you might need in the future, so that when you come to projects like this, you don't just have to buy a pack of white rhinestones to just use 2 rhinestones out of the pack. Let's continue. With the eyes, we are using size SS6 glass rhinestones. You can do SS12, but I used SS6, and we're just going to continue around his eyes. So cute! Moving right along with our orange glass rhinestones, we're going to be applying these to his beak. This is size SS16, and I'm pretty sure I probably used a few of the SS12. Remember, you can get away with this by just using one size. Even if you wanted to do SS12, that would be probably better. It might look even better if you use SS12, but I was trying to finish for the tutorial. I'm running a whole company, building an empire, and I'm just doing this for the people so that y'all know how to bling a duck. So for demonstration purposes, I use size SS16, but you could very well use size SS12. I could no longer fit some of those SS16s or the SS12, so here's where I begin to shift those rhinestones around to get even spaces. And we're off to bling the neck. Is this the neck? Yes, the neck, the head. We're just moving along, outlining, and then once we get to the front, we're going to outline his beak and then around his eyes, and we're going to continue. I do this every video. Not continue. We're going to continue moving in a circular motion around this duck's head. And then I'm continuing with the honeycomb pattern. And as we get to the top, just like all the other spaces, we're going to shift, fill in, and you'll see the final look once we get there. Isn't he just the cutest? Now, we kept him to be a boy, but I know many of you are adding bows to the top of these ducks. One of my daughters had this old bow. It's raggedy, did not have a middle or a back. So I asked them, could I have it? I bought it. They go give me this bow. And I added some rhinestones in the middle as well as on the actual bow. I could have very well used hot glue to secure this bow to the head and then added crystal glaze for some extra security. But I did not know where my hot glue gun was. So I pressed this down for a few minutes until it really just stuck in place. And then, of course, it cured in 24 hours. I did not bling this duck on camera, but the head, I used a pack of our Sorrento Pearl Bling mix, all different sizes. I think I might have used half the pack for the head and the wings. And then the rest of the body, I used size SS30. And I filled in spaces with SS12 and SS16 for that yellow duck. I'm almost certain that I used 2.5 packs for the amount of glass rhinestones that you see on this yellow duck. If you're going to do the entire duck with SS30, I suggest you get about 4 packs. And I had to do this. Do you see that security? I picked this bow up by this duck by that bow. And as you can see, crystal glaze, crystal glaze, crystal glaze. Thanks for watching, y'all. Go out there and bling some ducks. Thanks for watching.